King's Quest was a staple of 80s puzzle-based RPGs. It helped form the genre of RPGs, and now it's back with King's Quest Chapter 1, A Night to Remember. How does the new King's Quest stack up with the old or against RPGs of today? Well, good news, you're about to find out. I'm Patrick Fenton, and this is King's Quest, A Night to Remember. The game begins in the bottom of a well with a dragon, and as you play as young Graham, you enter Daventry for the first time in order to compete in a tournament where the very prize is a knighthood. The point of King's Quest is mostly finding items and then figuring out what to do with them to help the townspeople and to help the future King Graham on his quest to become a knight.
Need a bell. Shaky, my arms could barely grip the rope, but with the last of my strength, I climbed out of the well and headed back to the castle.
Voices include Christopher Lloyd as old King Graham.
It will not be easy, and Daventry needs men.
Wallace Shawn of The Princess Bride, and Zelda Williams, the daughter of the late great Robin Williams.
Oh, that? No, that's for gardening. I use it to trim my hedges. Seeing as my place is all tended to, and my petunias are most lovely, I'm willing to part with it for the price of one shiny gold coin.
The game is filled with cringeworthy puns, back and forth between Graham and his young granddaughter,
your
Gwendolyn.
infamous puns are not my favorite.
What's the matter? You don't like the timbre of my voice? You'll warm up to the puns.
These are terrible.
As the game progresses, you meet the other knights who are less than chivalrous. Graham isn't much of a warrior, and so he must use his wits.
I wasn't always the master archer you see before you now.
There are a couple parts where brawn is needed, but mostly it will be smarts that Graham needs to survive his challenges. Wandering around the maps is still filled with the game's unique style of criticizing your many deaths.
You just pranced into a dark cave filled with vicious wolves?
Yeah. Realizing a lot of people probably put their mouth on that horn, I was disgusted. I slowly backed away and never blew that horn again.
There are plenty of humorous moments in King's Quest to fill the action void, and it works quite well.
I'm not ashamed I blew on that germ-ridden, broken horn more times than I will ever admit. There's no need to even comment on it anymore. I should get a trophy or an achievement for how many times I blew on that horn.
Dragon!
During the dungeon with the dragon in it, Graham must use his wits to survive challenges more than action, as there are no random fights popping up every few seconds. There are consequences to Graham's actions, but for the most part they seem to affect later chapters in the game. There are limited choices you can make. You can choose which townsperson to help first, but you have to help them all eventually, and you can't really do any evil. Sometimes the humor seems a bit heavy-handed, and the Princess Bride references are a bit on the nose. Especially when Graham is forced off to a challenge of wits against Wallace Shawn. For the most part, King's Quest Chapter 1, A Night to Remember, sets a high bar for the chapters to come, in this offbeat and entertaining quest that relies on wits and problem-solving, rather than a bow and arrow or a sword. Although the game isn't perfect, it's a bit short, and aimlessly wandering may be a bit off-putting for today's generation of gamers. In this reviewer's opinion, King's Quest is alive and well after many long years of silence. For Reviews Magazine, I'm Patrick Fenton.